Welcome to Detroit. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass. You can drown them. And that's what we gotta be. That's who we have to be. Because that's our domain. That is our domain. Because we'll tread water as long as it takes to fucking bury you.
Takes the snap, turns, gives to Montgomery, right side, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions! Yes.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions, friends, fans, and family members. Welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike. And as always, we're diving on in. So folks, I just got to say this right now. How do you like Brad Holmes now? How do you think of him now? What are your honest opinions of him now? The reason I'm saying this, because late last night, it was announced that the Detroit Lions and wide receiver Jameson Williams have come to terms on a contract extension in which the Detroit Lions are signing Jameson Williams to a 3-year, $83 million contract with $67 million of it fully guaranteed. This deal was announced to be by George Schultz, who had reports from sources that he has. And so now, the Lions have once again signed one of their core players. This is now, if I recall correctly, between Goff, between Sewell, between, Taylor Decker, between Branch, and, between Amon-Ra St. Brown. This has got to be like the 5th or 6th deal that we've seen the Lions now do this. But I'm going to tell you this right now. This deal is by far a masterpiece for Brad Holmes. This is highway robbery for Brad Holmes and the Detroit Lions. Because the Lions just extended perhaps one of the most electric, one of the most explosive players in the NFL to perhaps one of the most team-friendly deals in the entirety of the NFL. And they did it again with the absolute genius that we have come to see Brad Holmes do it over the last couple of years. And I'm going to tell you this right now. When you see stuff like this, it makes the video that I made yesterday about how you have all these Lions fans that want to get on Brad Holmes for, letting Zadarius Smith slip away, for not going after players in the freaking free agency, not making trades, not making all these big-time moves that these quote-unquote Lions fans that are absolutely livid with Brad Holmes for not doing this stuff. It makes them just have to go, shush. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't have a damn clue about what's going on here. And this isn't about ass-kissing Holmes. This isn't about sucking up to Holmes. This is about, once again, being proven right that Brad Holmes knows what the hell he is doing. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. Had the Lions made the moves that some of these Lions fans had been wanting him to make, trading for Trey Hendrickson, trading for Micah Parsons, and signing these massive contracts to these types of players, this deal does not happen. This deal doesn't come close to happening. All other deals that we're now looking forward to coming up and down the pipe are not going to most likely happen. Because when you think about this overall deal, the contract that the Lions just got Jameson Williams to sign to is in essence an extension of if you will, of his rookie contract. Because the deal is a 3-year extension, which means the deal does not take effect until after Jameson Williams' current contract with the Lions is set to expire. Which, think about this. Jameson Williams still currently has 2 more years on his rookie contract left because he had the 1 year left of the original base 4-year contract that he signed when he got drafted. But then the Lions also picked up his 5th-year option, which means now the Lions have 2 years of a buffer zone before this new deal takes effect. There's a lot of things that can change in terms of the cap space in 2 years. And all that's going to change is the cap space is going to continue to go up. So think about this. The Lions just signed Jameson Williams to a 3-year contract extension on top of the 2 years they already have him under contract for, which means now the Lions have Jameson Williams under contract for the next 5 years. And the reason why that is so brilliant is because once you actually start pairing together all of the information as far as, okay, what was the remaining dollar value that Jameson Williams had on his previous contract, what he was currently getting paid, and then you add in this new money, it is an absolute steal of a deal. I mean, it's not even close. Because when you add in the new contract extension that he just got, with what Jameson Williams was already getting, Jameson Williams, in essence, when you combine the 2 years, the two deals together, he is getting paid about $101.5 million to $102 million over the next, 5 years. That means that over those 5 years, Jameson Williams is getting on average just a little bit more than $20 million a year. That's an absolute bargain for the Detroit Lions. You have to consider it a bargain for a couple of reasons. Number one, we already know Jameson Williams, he is about to have a breakout season. We already know that's going to happen. Jameson Williams had 1,001 yards last year. Everybody's expecting that he is going to have even way more than that this upcoming year. There's a reason why they call him Waymo. And when you think about it, the Lions now have all this money that they have now spent, and they're going to get a massive, massive return on investment, unlike anything probably anybody else has seen. Because you have to think about this. This type of a deal, the only deal that I can even think of in recent memory that comes close to what the Lions just did with Jameson Williams is what the Eagles did about a year or two ago with wide receiver DeVonta Smith. Because the frugality of this deal is very, very similar to what the Eagles did when they signed DeVonta Smith to his contract extension. Because again, they did the exact same thing for him. They signed him to a 3-year contract extension for $75 million. So, okay, just from that, the Eagles paid Jameson Williams what? Literally $8 million more. They paid him $8 million more over the course of that deal. But what makes this particularly interesting is how the Lions literally did the exact same steps that the Eagles did. Because go back through the history. The Eagles, they picked up DeVonta Smith's 5th-year option, and then they gave him that new contract extension. Now, the only thing that's different between these two is the timeline as far as how quickly the deals were done. Because if you go back and you do your history, DeVonta Smith was given his contract extension with the Eagles the very next day after the Eagles had signed him to his 5th-year option. The Lions, they waited a couple of months. And I'm pretty sure the reason why they did that is because, okay, they're trying to plan on all these other moves that are getting set to hit here very, very shortly. So there's a little bit more that has to go into planning to making sure all this works out correctly. But even if you want to say, oh, well, the Lions are just copying the Eagles, well, let's just call it for what it is. It's a good business practice. There's a reason why Howie Roseman is a damn good GM, and I've said that multiple times. But here's where Brad Holmes truly once again showed that, hey, when it comes to that whole conversation, he is just as good, if not maybe just a little bit better than Howie Roseman when it comes to getting these types of deals done. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. When you take a look and you notice the difference between how small the contracts are between what DeVonta Smith is now making and what he was making when he first signed that contract extension versus where Jameson Williams is right now, dude, it's not even funny. Because think about this. When the Lions got Jameson Williams and they signed him to his initial rookie contract, it was a 4-year, in essence, $17.5 million contract. When the Eagles did it with DeVonta Smith, it was a 4-year, $20.1 million contract. So already right there, I mean, you're talking about how Jameson Williams was able to get less money. Now, granted, that was, of course, where the Lions drafted him. But you're talking about, in essence, a $3.6 million difference. So already right there, the Lions were paying Jameson Williams $3.6 million less, if I've done my math correctly. But here's what makes this even more particularly interesting. When you then total the value of the money that, Smith had left on his contract at the time, and then you add on the money that he got from the new deal that he had signed with the Eagles, pretty much what happened is Smith was getting paid $90.6 million over those 5 years, which meant that with those two deals put together, he was getting paid on average $18.1 million a year. Well, wait a minute here. I just said that with Jameson Williams' new deal, he's getting paid a little bit over $20 million. So you want to try and tell me that this isn't a good deal, or you want to try and tell me that Brad Holmes should have spent this money elsewhere, but he just signed a guy to, in essence, the exact same style of contract due to the steps that were taking place, and he, in essence, only had to pay Jameson Williams an extra, $2 million over the course of the deal? And let me put it to you this way. Jameson Williams is an immensely better wide receiver than DeVonta Smith. And I'm going to tell you why he's immensely better. Because when you think about it, when the Eagles signed DeVonta Smith to that contract extension of 3 years, $75 million, he had already had two 1,000-yard seasons. Now, some of you are going to say, well, wait a minute. If you already had those two 1,000-yard seasons and the Eagles were only able to get him for $75 million, doesn't that kind of invalidate your argument? No, it doesn't. Here's the reason why it doesn't invalidate it. The reason why it doesn't invalidate it is because DeVonta Smith didn't have nearly as many problems getting on the field as Jameson Williams had. Jameson Williams had the injury coming straight out of college that he had to deal with. Then there were a couple of the off-field issues he had to deal with. So when the Lions are signing Jameson Williams to this contract, there is an immense well of untapped potential that the Lions have yet to see, and they know it's there. They know it's there. It's like drilling for oil. They know it's there. They're just waiting for that oil to literally, burst through, and it's like, oh, now we know exactly what we have. And they know it's exactly there. They know it. That's why I'm saying, to get Jameson Williams to this contract, which is in essence only, $2 million more over the lifespan of the deals combined together on average, that is highway robbery. But you also have to think of it from this also perspective. The Lions are doing this, and they know Jameson Williams is a player that you're not going to find almost anywhere else in the NFL. Because let me put this out here for you. You want to know what DeVonta Smith's 40-yard dash time was when he was coming out of college and getting into the NFL, that whole nonsense? He ran a 4.54 40-yard dash. Now, don't get me wrong. That's good speed. But it ain't Jamo speed. It ain't even close. There are people out there that are saying Jameson Williams could be running a very, very high 4.3, like 4.31, 4.32, to a sub 4.3, like a 4.29 or a 4.28. There are people out there that are saying that he is that damn fast. So think about that. The Lions just signed Jameson Williams overall for only $2 million more over the lifespan of both deals combined. And if you want to just talk about the actual contract extensions themselves, they only paid Jameson Williams $8 million more. That's it. $8 million more. And yet they know exactly what Jameson Williams can provide for them. They know exactly what he has to offer them because there is so much untapped potential that's left to be, actually used and actually seen. And think about this as well. The ceiling between what Smith can provide and what Jameson Williams can provide, absolutely in a completely different galaxy. First and foremost here, other than just the physical talent as far as how much faster Jameson Williams is compared to DeVonta Smith, you also have to think about the different types of offenses that these two play in. DeVonta Smith plays in a ridiculously heavy run-based offense. What does that mean? He's not going to get the ball a whole hell of a lot. He's not going to get the ball a whole hell of a lot in terms of receptions. Why? Because Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley are your primary offensive weapons. They're going to be running the ball. Oh, sure, they're going to throw the ball. But again, when you take a look at the fact that Jalen Hurts literally only threw the ball for like 2,900 yards last year and 18 passing touchdowns, that right there ought to tell you who's getting more value out of those contracts comparatively. We already know the Lions love to run the ball, but they throw the ball also, ridiculously well as well. Jared Goff last year finished second in completion percentage, second in passing yards, and also second in passer rating. And also second in pass average. So what does that mean? That means the Lions, if you want to start breaking down dollars to, receptions, dollars to yards, dollars to passing touchdowns, the whole 9 yards, the Lions got an immensely better deal out of this because their money is going to stretch immensely further than the Eagles' dollars ever did with DeVonta Smith, even though they're paying him slightly more. And again, That's not factoring in what we already know is going to be coming up here with Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams is just now starting to get revved up. We've heard it all offseason, all through training camp. The one player that has probably advanced and progressed and gotten better more than anybody else has been Jameson Williams. And everybody has been absolutely just gushing and raving about his potential and his talent progression over the entire course of this training camp and offseason. Whether it's been Brad Holmes, whether it's been Jared Goff, whether it's been Dan Campbell, they've all been saying the same thing. They're like, dude, when Jameson Williams hits the field, it is going to be absolutely ridiculous what he can do. And to me, that's why I said, when you take a look at how this deal has broken down, in terms of not only the overall amount of finances, but also in terms of what the Lions were able to get Jameson Williams to sign to in comparison to where DeVonta Smith was, it is a complete steal of a deal. And now it makes total sense why the Lions have not been chasing those massive deals with outside players. It now makes sense why the Lions held their ground and said, hey, to Zadarius Smith, if you want to come back and play for us, we're willing to give you a 1-year, $6 million contract. Why? Because the Lions, I guarantee you this is the first domino to fall. I am telling you this right now. It would not at all surprise me that freaking Aiden Hutchinson's deal is right around the damn corner. Because let's think about this here. When everyone was talking about these upcoming deals, everybody's like, oh, Aiden Hutchinson's deal is definitely going to fall first because that's the one we keep hearing about. That's the one that the Lions keep telling us that, yeah, they're already in contract talks, they're already setting preliminary talks, they're already setting the ground. It had only been talked about literally a couple of times about Jameson Williams' contract. That contract was not even anywhere on anyone's radar in terms of getting done right now. But yet that's exactly what happened. On the very eve of getting ready to play against the Packers, the Lions get Jameson Williams to sign this contract. And if there's one thing we know about the Lions, especially when it comes to extensions, they usually come in waves. Because go back to that summer when we signed, freaking Jared Goff. We signed freaking Penei Sewell. We signed Amon-Ra St. Brown. We signed Aleem McNeil. That was a name I forgot earlier. When you take a look at all those contracts literally came in quick succession. Just boom, 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 boom. I'm telling you this right now. It wouldn't at all surprise me if the next contract is going to be Aiden Hutchinson and it's going to be right around the corner. And I can't wait to see what kind of Houdini hat trick that freaking Holmes pulls off with that one. Because I'm telling you this right now, everybody thought that when we paid Jameson Williams, we were going to have to pay out through the ass for him. Because it's like, oh, the guy just had a 1,000-yard season. All these other receivers have been signing these massive contracts. It's going to be a big deal. This is actually a moderate deal, if you want to be sincerely honest. The fact that the Lions got Jameson Williams to sign a 3-year contract under $100 million, and that over the next 5 years, it literally is going to be barely over $100 million in terms of total value when you combine the rookie contract and also what his current extension is. It's a steal. This is what Brad Holmes does. This is why for all you Lions fans that wanted to get on Brad Holmes because he didn't sign Zadarius Smith, he hasn't done all this other stuff, I'm telling you this right now. This is what Brad Holmes does. This is what makes him who he is. And the more you continue to doubt him, the more he is going to show you, don't doubt me. I know exactly what I'm doing. This is the evidence right here. This is the proof that shows 110% Brad Holmes knows what he is doing. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But anyway, folks, I've said my piece. And I'm probably going to talk a little bit more about this in other episodes because this is not at all the end of this conversation. Not even close. But having said that, I've reached the end of this episode, so I just want to say thank you all for watching yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage you all to watch the next episode. Also encourage you all to do this. If you like this content, hope you gain your subscription if I'd not done so before. But also, if you subscribed just now and have not yet had a chance to do so, or you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, want to highly encourage you all, please, to make sure you hit that bell notification icon so you guys never miss any more content that I push out. Hope you all are doing well. Hope you all got something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. Which, with the fact that today is the first game of the Lions regular season when we play against the Packers at Lambeau Field at 4:25, I guarantee you a lot of Lions fans are happy this morning because, hey, we signed Jameson Williams and now we get to watch football. So, having said that, I just want to say to everybody, God bless, and until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.